The stock market has taken an absolute beating. Despite all of the money printing and central bank intervention, the market has found itself down 10% from its peak. It wouldn't take much more to get the ball rolling quickly downhill. You came here for the truth, so let me unveil that for you. Today we are going to look at the sea of red. Let's begin with this. Dow's roughly 724-point decline marks the worst one-day stumble in 6 weeks. So I covered it here on this channel at the time, back in February, showing you that significant drop that was experienced, 2.93%, 1,000-point drop, and intraday dropped much more significantly. Well, now today, closing here, 724 points down, or 2.9%, just below that 24,000 point mark. The S&P was down 2.5%, NASDAQ was down about 2.5% as well. I will show you it isn't just the US markets that found themselves down. It was literally a sea of red. So today I will cover what happened and why it happened. So let's go further into this. Very clear. China tariffs issue. It's been on the front page, and this actually went ahead as planned. China responds to the tariffs with a proposed list of 128 products to target. So they want to get tariffs back on them. And this is for products including pork, wine, fruit, and steel. Many products, in fact, in this list, and it could be quite significant. They want to have some talks. They want to have some discussions. Hopefully they will sit down and have an agreement, but we'll see what happens here. Usually one side ends up losing. This is the sea of red. Look at this. As soon as the Chinese market opened, everything became red. You'll see this Chinese market graphs all declining, and I'll show you more. Tencent, one of the biggest companies in the world, hasn't dropped this much in a day since 2008. Financial crisis time frame, and this happens to be one of the larger companies out there, and yet still it can drop. Just because it's a big stock doesn't mean it can't drop. This year, Chinese commodities, you're seeing some of them coming down significantly. Obviously, they're worried about the tariffs. They're worried about all the issues that are going on, geopolitical tensions. Asian markets, look at that. Look at how significant, whether it is out of China, Japan, or others, doesn't really matter. Because you can see very clearly all markets operate together. EU bank stocks down significantly. They haven't been this bad in basically a year. So that should tell us something about the weakness. And you want to talk about weak. Deutsche Bank. Just terrible. This stock, I don't know how it stays alive, but here it is yet again, despite the fact that they have virtually an unlimited printing press, because they can create derivatives having probably about the same amount of derivatives as the entire GDP of the world, and yet it doesn't even matter. They can do whatever they want. They can add it all to their books and hold the world hostage. And somehow they're insolvent entirely, but they're still around. Rand Paul sent out a good tweet. Shame, shame. A pox on both houses and parties. $1.3 trillion, bust budget caps, 2,200 pages with just hours to try and read it. It happens every single time. We were told that all of these would be made available 72 hours beforehand so everybody could read it. That never happened. It didn't even happen one time. These budget, every time they're going to get passed. And the funny thing is about all of these budgets, all of these bills that get put through, there's always very, very weird and unrelated things that get stuck in there. Look, you got something that's 2,200 pages. You know that they're not going to read it, even if they all split it up and read 100 pages each. It's not going to work. You have a few hours to read it. They can kind of get the gist of it. They probably read the front page, and that's about it. Voting on it. They vote on things simply because it is this idea that if they don't say yes to it, then they are a burden and they don't want to work with anybody. This is a problem. You know, if somebody voted no to it specifically because they thought, well, I don't have enough time to read it, so I'm not going to vote yes to it, doesn't mean they necessarily disagree with it. They might agree with the entire 2,200 pages. But the fact that they don't have enough time should be reason enough to not vote yes. And that's what we see consistently. That those lawmakers don't have our best interest in mind. They are doing their own dirty deeds behind the scenes, accomplishing whatever it is that they need to, but always at our expense. And it's pervasive. US, Canada, UK, Germany, anywhere you want to look. Same situation goes on. Some countries are worse than others, that's for sure. But ultimately, same policies, different countries. So that's all for this video. If you found it informative, please give me a thumbs up. When you give me a thumbs up, it helps to support this channel. So I do appreciate that very much. We're hopefully heading towards 100,000 subscribers. And I want to say hello to all of the new people who have joined recently. I want to say hello to everybody who has been with me for years and years. If you found the video informative, I know that you will find my books, The Money GPS, and my newer release, Global Economic Collapse, even more informative. You can actually flip through these books. If you go over to Amazon, there's a look inside feature. It's going to allow you to flip through the pages of these books to see if you like them. Take care.